goes on here 24 hours, just not in a row. I'd like to welcome Devi Deva Prabhu, my old friend. Thank you very much for coming here today. And as it will be announced later, he's sponsoring the feast for today on behalf of his exalted Vaishnavi mother, who we are mourning the passing of just recently. Thank you very much. It's wonderful to have you here and be in memory of your mother. Hare Krishna. His mother was a disciple of Śrīla Prabhupāda who served with distinction in the Krishna conscious movement for many, many years. I knew her when she was a teacher in Los Angeles. Hare Krishna. And David's also a disciple of Śrīla Prabhupada. One of the first. How old were you when you were initiated? 11. See? See? Huh? There you have it. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, thank you very much for being here. We're at a special time of year when we're looking towards renewal. As the days get darker, our anticipation for light grows, and human life is a kind of opportunity to end the darkness of material existence, coming into awareness that such an opportunity exists lifts those who are aware of it to a new standard of life, in that they no longer settle for the status quo. Of course, those in lower species of life automatically wake up with the sun. Naturally, plants gravitate towards the sun. But their opportunity for discovering the main purpose of life is limited. Around this time of year, I like to think about preparation for the next year and advocate at this time of year for taking time to think about what we've done, what I've done, what we've all done together, what you've done individually. You can think about for yourself over the last year. It can be very healthy. Nirkula and I every night have taken to a practice of reviewing our day together, and it's sometimes amazing to see that we have to think hard of what we did during the day to remember what things happened that particular day. But when we do remember them, we're thankful that we had the opportunity to do them. What to speak of thinking back for a whole year? It may take a little time to stop and maybe write down the things that you've done since the beginning. Can you remember where you were on January 1st last year? Or at the beginning of the year, what happened during the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter? It's nice to go back and think about it, maybe write it down. It'll come out more and more as you think. And then writing down some goals for the next year. What would you like to improve on? Making a list of any of those places where you felt like you wasted time. You could put it on a no-fly list. In fact, it would be an interesting experiment to write down 100 things on your do not do list. What if you could get 101 things on there? Do not do. You think you could come up with that many? Yeah. just by elimination of things we do not do, might give us a lot more time for the things that we really want to do and eliminate a lot of cognitive dissonance. It's a real shame oftentimes when we know what we want to do and what's most important, and then other things pull us away from it. At least it builds some type of anxiety, and being able to winnow out those things that are not essential can be very helpful. That's why there are ashramas. Idea is you find an environment in which you can focus on everything that's important and leave behind the other things that aren't important. But we can do that in our lives, in whatever place we live, by being introspective and purposeful. Human life is such a opportune moment in our sojourn here in the material world, because it's really built for self-realization, God realization, developing love for Krishna, ultimately. And if we take advantage of the opportunity, then we can build a temple within our hearts. And to that end, I just want to read you a very short piece that I wrote about that. In 1972, Śrīla Prabhupāda made a down payment on the land in Juhu Beach, Bombay, intending to build Śrī Śrī Rādhā-Kṛṣṇa, a beautiful temple there. Even though Śrīla Prabhupāda had made a down payment on the land, the owner, who had a past history of shady dealings, had not yet handed over the land deed to ISKCON, as he had promised he would do. Śrīla Prabhupāda saw indications that the owner might change his mind and decide not to sell the land. Or worse, he may try to cheat the devotees and keep the down payment. In India, when one installs deities on a piece of land, legally it secures one's hold on the land, as the deities become the proprietors and no one else will dare to move them. Therefore, to secure the Juhu land, Śrīla Prabhupāda moved the deities, Śrī Śrī Rādhā Rāsa-Bihārī, there as quickly as possible after giving the down payment. Just after doing this, he also performed a ceremony to lay the cornerstone for the temple he intended to build there. Another act that legally solidifies one's right to keep and stay on the piece of land. At first, due to a lack of facility, the devotees had to worship Radha-Krishna in a tent. After some years of intense struggle, Śrīla Prabhupāda and his followers developed the land, relocating the previous renters, and established a beautiful temple there that today hosts millions of people every year. As humans, we have the chance to build such a temple in our hearts. Our bodies are like that Juhu land. As Śrīla Prabhupāda quickly installed the deities on the Juhu land, we should also install Krishna in our hearts as soon as possible, before death comes and cheats us, taking away our opportunity. Making a firm vow to chant the holy names a fixed number of times each day, we lay the cornerstone for a temple in our hearts where we can properly worship Krishna. As Śrīla Prabhupāda pushed forward to secure the Juhu land, we must also push forward, against all odds, to ready our hearts for Krishna's worship. Before Śrīla Prabhupāda purchased the land in Juhu, it was infested with rats and mosquitoes, and there were renters living on it who were not favorable. Actually, there's some squatters. It was as hard in Juhu to move squatters as it is in California or San Francisco, and that's hard. Today, a beautiful temple adorns that land. Similarly, our hearts may be overgrown with unclean desires. Nonetheless, as we firmly keep our vow to daily chant the Maha Mantra and to follow the regulative principles, we will see a beautiful temple erected in our hearts. We had the same experience when earlier this year we were in Vrindavan, and during our yatra, that was this year, right? We went to Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, the most iconic of buildings there in Vrindavan. And as the sun was coming up, we were singing songs by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and just appreciating the grandeur of the temple and what it represented. It used to be that in any town, the largest building and the focal point for everybody would be temple, church, mosque, something evoking this feeling of devotion to God. But as we drove into San Francisco the other day, we noticed that the largest building was Salesforce, a monument to the endeavor to, the race to the bottom, in the sense of doing everything possible to secure one's happiness here in the material world while forgetting about the ultimate purpose of life. So in thinking about metaphors and cornerstones, I also think about how the human body is fertile ground, because there's such a miracle in gardening. And the medium for growth is soil, which is a mixture of minerals, organic matter, gases, liquids, and countless organisms that together support life on earth. Soil is a natural body called a pedosphere, which has 4 important functions. It's a medium for plant growth, a means of water storage, supply, and purification. It modifies Earth's atmosphere. It's a habitat for organisms. So I was just thinking the extension of that for us is that our attitude is the medium for growth. It's like the soil in which we can take advantage of the opportunity for devotional service in our lives. Attitude. Prabhupada writes, at the beginning of the Nectar of Instruction, that the attitude of the practitioner is the determinant of how well he or she advances in devotional service. The attitude. Attitude is a fixed way of thinking about things. And it comes out in the stature of the person who holds such an attitude. It comes out in their speech, the way they think. Fortunately, attitudes can be amended, modified, changed, discarded. We can adopt new ones as well. So, thinking about attitudes, my mind goes to Śrīla Prabhupāda's statement in the Adi Lila of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, in which he mentions that every species of life has an appreciating capacity. When we come from the human form of life, we can expand our appreciation for Krishna unlimitedly. He writes, the Lord's pastimes are differentiated according to the appreciating capacity of the different types of bodies of the living entities. And I had a few thoughts about attitude. Would you like to hear them? There's a few that I've gleaned over the years that guide me in adjusting my attitude. Have you ever had to adjust your attitude? Did you have to do it today? Yeah, we can adjust it during the day. To any given day, you might have to adjust your attitude. Attitude adjustment. There's a few attitudes that I've found that relate to Krishna's teachings in the Bhagavad Gita and also those in the Srimad Bhagavatam. One is that I take full responsibility for my situation. What verse does that remind you of? Tate nukampam susamikshamano bunjane eva makritam vipakam hridvagva purvir vidaram namaste jiveta yo mukti pade sadaya bhak. This is Brahma And Brahma says that whatever situation I'm in now, so I've put myself in it. And he says that I accept whatever comes to me as a display of the Lord's mercy. It is meant to purify me so that I can be situated in a humble state of mind in service to the Lord. Tatenu kampam susumikshamano. Person's always expecting the ultimate mercy of the Lord. And if one maintains such a mentality, an attitude towards life, that whatever comes is meant to teach me a lesson, it's the Lord's mercy, then such a person is Sadaya Bhak, the rightful inheritor of the kingdom of God. And so that's an attitude, isn't it? Another is related, and it's a mantra you've heard me say many times, and it's dangerous to say because it could change your whole life, and that is, I live to be corrected. Which, as you know well, I heard on a radio interview, and I pulled the car over and wrote it down in my notebook and said, new mantra. I live to be corrected means that I'm taking the philosophy of Brahma in that verse and I'm applying it to all the situations that arise in my life. Another is to not carry grudges. Grudges are beastly little animals, almost like a honey badger. And when you carry them around, they snarl at people, they bite you, and the best thing is take them to the edge of the forest and just let them go. So letting go of grudges is another attitude exercise. And also, the most consequential and related to grudges, but probably on a grander scale, is I abandon envy. Making a study of what envy is, where it comes from, and how to abandon it, to overcome it, is the entrance fee to go deeply within the Srimad Bhagavatam. Where does it say that? Nirmatsaranam satam. Where's that from? First canto where? First verse? Dharma projita kaitavo traparamo nirmatsaranam satam. One has to be very sincere, satam. And in nirmatsaranam, it's meant for people who have given up envy. So this could be a discipline, a practice to give up envy, part of the attitude adjustment. So when we have an idea that I have an attitude, it's adjustable, and I amend it in such a way that it is in harmony with those ideas Krishna's given us for how to hold an attitude, then that's soil for potent seeds, which is the next aspect. We have soil, seeds, sunshine, and rain. We talked about a little soil, we just touched on it. The seeds we plant determine our future. A seed is a beautiful gift from God. It's designed to keep on giving. Isn't it amazing? You look at a little seed and you think it is insignificant. It looks dried up, tiny. You could miss it if you didn't know where it came from in the first place. But it's designed to keep on giving. You plant the seed, it grows, it produces more seeds so it can expand. Metaphorically, of course, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu emphasized how we can get the idea for the most exalted practice in the human form of life, which is to develop pure love for Krishna. We get that seed idea from those who already have it. And if the soil is right, if it's fertile, we have the right attitude, then that seed will germinate there within the soil and begin to grow. And of course, I'll get to the watering process because we have soil, seeds, sunshine, and rain. There's much about sunshine, of course, in the Shastra, but an esoteric verse that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself quoted was Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma Prema Suryamshu Samya Bhag Ruchibis Chittamasrinya Kridaso Bhava Uchate. Here he says, Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma, that there's a ray. We're used to rays. There's some coming in right now from the sun, and we depend upon it. In fact, as I always love to notice how the plants respond to the shortening of the year, and then when it starts to turn the other way. If you've ever noticed in your garden that the shorter it gets, the more the plants go into dormancy. But the moment it changes, and Nirkula was telling me this, better be true what you said, the other day, that when after the darkest day of the year, and the sun starts to come back and the days are longer, it's only by a few seconds. But still, the plants perceive that few extra seconds of sunlight, and they begin to respond. They come out of dormancy, begin to grow again. Whereas in California, you don't blink your eyes because it happens so fast. Winter comes, so-called winter, and then by February we already see buds coming out as if it's spring. Oh, goodness. If you ever lived in New York or Chicago or Montreal, there's only two seasons in Montreal, which is winter and repair season, when they're trying to fix everything from all the ice. In California, we have it. We're lucky here. But in any case, you can notice the effect of the light. And remember that a little light from the holy name, which is from the internal potency, Surya, Vishuddhatma. It's Vishuddha. It comes from the place where there are no modes of material nature. And Lord Chaitanya said, when that ray touches the heart, then it melts the heart. As in, Evam vrata swapriya namakirta jatana rago chuta echar asatyato rotiti roti gayati unmadavan rititi lokabhayaha. A verse in which Havyogendra is describing how one performs devotional service. You know what he said? He said one goes everywhere and just chants Hare Krishna. And doesn't, everywhere, in public, wherever, in the house, in the shower, wherever, constantly chanting Hare Krishna. And then he says, Evam vrata, from that activity, then the heart begins to melt. So Lord Chaitanya said the same thing. It's a sun ray. You have soil, seeds, sun is there, and Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma. Mrishrinya means the heart begins to melt. And then one develops an emotion for God. We are sentient beings, so we're emotional. But when we develop an emotion for Krishna, then we enjoy real happiness. And of course, the sun metaphor also there in verses like Kechit Kevalaya Bhaktya Vasudeva Parayana Agham Dunvanti Karsneya Nihara Iva Bhaskara. This is such a reassuring verse because it says, even though it feels like we live in the fog is the ignorance of this world. It's hard to come out of. Yes or yes? Said Kechit Kevalaya Bhakta Vasudeva Parayana Agham Dunvanti Karsneya Nihara Eva Bhaskara. When Bhaskara comes during a foggy day, no matter how thick the fog is, Bhaskara, the sun, then burns off the fog. And then what was a cloudy day, what was a foggy day, what was impenetrable, even pedestrians couldn't move, then everything becomes possible because the sun burns it off. So he said in a similar way, Agam Dunvandi Karsneya, by the power of devotional service, chanting Hare Krishna, that ignorance will burn off. And one can see what is what. There's also radiation that comes from the sun. And it's not observable by the naked eye. And I volunteered to experiment with that unknowingly at a Rath Yatra in San Francisco, circa 2012. I was running around in whatever that field is we've been doing Rath Yatra in lately for the last 20 years. Sharon Meadows or something. And my experiment was to see how sunburned I could get on a cloudy day. Again, I was unknowingly doing the experiment. So I didn't wear a hat. I thought, it's cloudy. And I was in Sharon Meadow all day long, going from one book table to the next. And then the next day I was burned. And so to do a little research, I went online and I looked up sunburns on a cloudy day and found out that UV rays come through. The direct sun isn't noticeable, but the UV rays are there. So devotional service, Agham Dunvanti Karsneya Nihara Iva Bhaskara. You may think, where is the bright sun coming into my chanting and my practice of devotional service? Don't worry, the UV rays are there. Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukadeva Goswami, to encourage Parikshit Maharaj, goes to great length to express the power of the holy name. It sounds fantastical. In fact, while we were in London recently, we were reading that section of the Bhagavatam to a large group of devotees, just hearing it. And to preface what I'm about to say, all the acharyas say that there's no exaggeration when it comes to the holy name. But even if one does it, meaning chanting Hare Krishna accidentally, does it because of singing some song and the Hare Krishna mantra happens to be there, or as we saw yesterday, or I can't remember, it was last night or this morning, we saw when we were surveying all the devotees around the world in their marathon, somebody was showing slides, I think, from New Zealand, and there was the Krishna motel. But I've seen Krishna motorcycle. And now in Pune, there's Krishna wine. It's a string of wine shops. It's called Krishna wine. And so Shukadeva Goswami says, yes, they get the rays, the UV rays from that. The abhasa is coming through. The people may do it jokingly. They may walk down the street and say, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Or as they used to say to us, you guys are the Hare Krishnas, where's your hair? Or as my friend from Pakistan the other day when we were in Watford, we were distributing on the street, and he seemed like just such a pious, nice person, so I was showing him the books. He declined. He was a Muslim, and I said, well, here, just chant Hare Krishna. And he goes, no, I don't say Hare Krishna. And the devotees who were standing there had a similar reaction, because this is one of the known powers of the holy name, is the UV rays. They come through. And if one continues to chant Hare Krishna, the sun comes through, the rays come through, the power of the sun comes through. Krishna is all powerful. So we have soil, which is our attitude. We have the seed, which is mysterious. When you get a seed, you can expect something wonderful. Any kind of seed, but especially the Bhakti Lata seed, because it grows and it expands itself in such a way that we can transcend the material world. Well, what other element do we need now? Water. Where does it come from? From the municipality? Yes, but ultimately from rain. I love it when it rains because we've had droughts. Droughts are depressing, aren't they? I've seen some places in the Middle East now that droughts have gone on so long that people walk along on the path. There's poofs of dust that come up because everything's so dry. And many of the main streams, main rivers have been dammed up, and certain countries are suffering because of that. It's a hard time when there's a drought. So I love it to hear that the rain's coming when it's raining. So the rain, of course, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called Shravanadi Jal. He said that the Jal is water and Shravana Adi. The hearing and chanting, etc. It's how you water the seed. And there are various times when it really rains in our lives. Daily, there's a Brahma Muhurta, like the early time in the day. You can get a good soaking if you take advantage of the early morning hours. That's why Prabhupada, when he formed this society, he set it up so everyone could take advantage of Brahma Muhurta. What a great strategy. Because he knew that if everyone had the opportunity to take advantage of Brahma Muhurta, they would get soaked and the seed would grow. There's Ekadashi, which is tomorrow, by the way. Ekadashi, Hari Vasara, the day of Lord Hari. Great excuse to give more attention to chanting and hearing. What do you think? There's Janmashtami. Do you like Janmashtami? Yes. What do you like about it? You don't eat all day, right? So why are you so happy for Janmashtami? You just are. I mean, it's just so nice because we don't have to do anything else except for hear and chant all day, right? Or help park cars and stuff. How about Gaur Purnima? You like Gaur Purnima? What do you like about it? It's just fantastic. It's the whole day is dedicated to Gauranga. And then we have a list of holy days that will compare to any other religious process in the world, and I guarantee we'll win. We have more holidays per year than anybody else in the universe, bar none. So if you want excuses, you could just pull them off the Vaishnava calendar and say, yeah, I'd like to come in today, but but excuse me, sir, that's the 28th time this month. It's like, I can't help it. It's my religion. Then we have Kartik. What a great excuse to take 30 days off and just hear and chant, do nothing else. Or at least every day give your devotion to Krishna by offering a lamp. How about teachable moments? Do you get any of those in your life? Yeah? Did you ever get smacked around by the material nature? And did you find it to be enlightening? Yeah, so there's never a shortage of those, of reversals and disappointments. And how about frustration? Let's hear for frustration. Yay! Who here likes frustration? Yay, we love it. It's the doorway to enlightenment. Prabhupada writes about it in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the verse that ends Anumapakai. He gives a thought-inducing purport in which he talks about how to observe that you're not your body. And in that discussion, he also points out that the fact that we get frustrated with circumstances in this world is evidence that we don't belong here. If we belonged in this world, we'd never be frustrated because everything would just sail along, go our way. But it's because of our mismatch with the material nature. So that's a time when you can get rain in your life. So what do we have? Soil is your, and how, by the way, how, if you were to rate your attitude, or do you even know you have an attitude? Sometimes we're not even sure we have an attitude unless somebody else tells us we do. Right? Like, okay, so attitude's amendable? And is attitude important? It's everything. According to Prabhupada, he said our advancement in devotional service is determinate. The determinant is our attitude. So we can adjust it. And then what's the next thing? Seed? Do you all like seeds? Have you really thought about it? Did you ever hold a seed for a little while and just think of how it works? Is it amazing or not? It is. Okay, then what? Sun. We had soil, seed, sunshine, and rain. Yeah. Okay. Let me see if I can pull a rabbit out of my hat. Yeah, these are observations. I read the thing about Prabhupada. And I also wanted to read you something encouraging about hearing, because it's the watering that makes the seed germinate and grow. Would you like to hear it? Yes. This is Prabhupada. As you know, because I was little interested in hearing, my Guru Maharaj, he accepted me as his disciple. He marked this. This boy is interested in hearing. He does not go away. Actually, I do not know. I could not understand what he was speaking in the beginning, but still I was very much interested to hear him out of curiosity or something like that. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says in 7.1, who besides Devi Deva knows 7.1? He knows the whole Bhagavad Gita. Mayasakta manaparta yogam yunjan manashraya asamshayam samagramam yata gyasasi tachrinu. Means that if you just hear about, just dedicate yourself to hearing, then jnanam teham savijnanam idam bhakshami sheshdha yajyatva nehabhuyo naj gyatavyam avashishyate. He says you'll come to know of everything phenomenal and numinous. Means everything in the material and spiritual world. You'll get to know the difference between matter and spirit, and the depth of your knowledge will be unlimited just by hearing. Tashrinu. So Prabhupada said, at first he didn't understand what his spiritual master was saying, but somehow or other he said out of curiosity. He was very much interested to hear him, so he went on hearing. And then everything became clear. And Krishna says the same thing. And another example, Devahuti in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Who here tonight loves the third canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Better be careful, I'm going to call on you. You know, when I read, I mark up whatever books I'm reading. I also put in flags. And I have so many flags on the third canto now that I might as well not put any, because practically everything's marked. It's so thick. And we read the whole third canto recently. Not the last Kartik, but one of them. Maybe the one before this one. And in the third canto, one of my favorite sections is Devahuti. Devahuti has famous verses that she... Two of the famous verses you already know. I'm thinking them in my head, so you have to say them now that they're there. You can tell what they are. Go ahead. Say the two. First, you have to pray for a microphone, then you have to pray for it to work.
I don't know the Sanskrit, but the essence of the verse is when she says that she asks a question and the answer is she has to hear for a long time.
Wait a minute, that's the other one. That's not famous. The two famous verses, yeah. You're right, but I'm getting to that. It's not famous. Maybe famous, ISV famous, but not world famous.
Aho bata swapachato gariyan yajiva gre vartate nama tubhyam te pustapaste juhu sasnurarya brahmanuchur nama gridanti ete hiranama deya savananu kirtanad yat pravanad yat Sravanat api kvachit sadopi sadhya savanaya kalpate kuta punaste bhagavan darsanat. 323.
Give us a general idea what they mean and why they're so important.
It says the potency of holy name. The first he says Aho means like he's just exclaiming that how powerful is the holy name, that even those who are born even in the lowest family, like the dog eater family, they can get Aho bata swapachato gariyan jiva vartate nama tubhyam tep, and they had done all the tepus tapas teju, they had done all the sacrifices, they gone to all the holy places just by chanting the holy name. So she is glorifying that power of holy name.
Yes, and then what you said was one that's a little off the beaten track, but is very helpful verse because it's so easy to relate to. Devahuti said, I'm sick and tired of the disturbances of my senses. Anyone? Sick and tired? Yeah. She said, I'm just tired of this. I'm sick of it, being dominated by my senses. And then she then later says that, how is it even possible, she asks Kapila, to get free from the mire that I'm in? It seems like I'm my body. It seems like I'm my mind. And it seems hopeless that I ever get out of this. And then Apargarangi, what is the solution that Kapila Dev gives?
To hear for a long time.
To hear for a long time and serve. Hear for a long time. So how much should you hear? Yeah, for a long time. And what's a long time? Is it the length of a TikTok? I mean, on one side, it's okay to hear according to your capacity, but try to hear longer. And to that end, I'll just bring in something that fits in this little slot here. And that is that, and it's a good one for the holidays, because it's a verse by, another one by Haviyogendra, where he says, Bhakti parishano bhava virakti anyata traisha trika eka kala prapadya manasya yatashana sus tusti pushti shud apayonugasam. And he compares the process of surrendering to Krishna, devotional service, to be like eating. And he says that when you eat, you get satisfaction, nourishment, and your hunger goes away. And when you practice bhakti, then you awaken that emotion in your heart for Krishna. You also see Krishna directly for yourself. And also, you're not interested in anything else that's unrelated to Krishna. So, in commenting on this verse, no metaphor is completely perfect, is it? No. And in this one, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentions the following, that when a famished person eats a good meal, he or she feels satisfaction, nourishment, and their hunger lessens with each bite. In a similar way, says Sage Kavi, those who worship Krishna through the process of bhakti get devotion, direct experience of the Supreme, and detachment from other things not related to Krishna. In his remarks about this verse, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who? Correct. The great Srimad Bhagavatam commentator says, just as a person who eats a little gets a little satisfaction, a little nourishment, and a little relief from hunger, so a person who worships the Lord a little, with hearing and chanting, gets a little experience of the Lord and a little detachment from material life. And just as a person who eats a lot, see, it's around the holidays, gets full satisfaction, full nourishment, and full relief from hunger. So a person who worships the Lord fully experiences the Lord and becomes completely detached from material life. I'm not done yet. There's more. He says, although it is impossible to eat food continuously, holidays again, one can increase his worship of the Lord without limitation. Wait, what? I'll read it again. Although it is impossible to eat food continuously, one can increase his worship of the Lord without limitation. That's the difference. And that's the slight twist in the metaphor. Is you can increase your appetite and you can go on hearing and chanting, and although it's completely satisfying, you still want more. That's the best kind of eating, isn't it? Can you imagine a state where you just can eat unlimitedly and you never get full? Yes? Yes. I'm always seeking that. So we're given in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam a directive to hear with rapt attention. In fact, that's a symptom of somebody who's advancing spiritually, if they hear with rapt attention. Would you like to hear what rapt means? R-A-P-T, rapt. Everyone say rapt. Okay. Completely fascinated by what one is seeing or hearing, indicating or characterized by such a state of fascination, having been carried away bodily or transported to heaven. The origin is from Latin, raptus, seized. So how should one develop one's hearing, or how do you know when you're hearing in such a way that you're going to get a lot? That you're rapt. Then Shraddha pointed out, this is the body language. That's there when Uddhava went to hear from Krishna. Remember when Krishna was about to leave the world? And sorry to bring it up. And he was leaning against a young banyan tree, and Uddhava came there to hear, and he leaned in. And Shukadeva mentions it, that he was leaning like that so he could hear more. And then, so rapt. So I have a few more pieces of what I call random advice. May I? Yes. Okay. Beware of plateaus and comfort zones. Would you like to hear what a plateau is? To reach a state of little or no change after a time of activity or progress. Ouch. How about comfort? Prosperity and the pleasant lifestyle secured by it. And then, remember that Krishna is the maintainer of everyone. Maintain means to cause or enable, to continue, provide with necessities of life or existence. And final, do the best you can with what you've got at every moment. Okay, 2 more minutes of randomness. Are you ready? A few questions. Have you all written your goals yet for the year 2026? One has. Kartik. Anyone wrote your goals? Would you like to? Yes. Okay, just take time right now to write one. Just write one goal. Loan somebody a piece of paper. If you don't have paper, I'll loan you one. Who doesn't have a piece of paper? You can borrow some from me. Sharing means caring. Okay, Kartik, do you have a pen? You need a pen too? Got a pen? Anybody else need a piece of paper? Huh? Okay, 2 go back there. There's 2 hands up. You can pass them that. You want half? Okay, share with your neighbor. They still say that in school? Okay, Prabhu in the back. Okay, pass it back to him. Okay, now take time. Now, how do you write your goals? You know the formula? Decide what you want and write it down. And if you got a piece of paper from me, you can cut it in half, share with somebody else. Decide what you want, write it down. Think of 2026. Be as specific as possible and make it by a certain date. Are you ready? I'm going to give you a minute and a half. 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. If you wrote something down, then you should know that you're engaged in a very powerful process. The pen is a magic wand. It's the most powerful tool on the face of the earth. You can transform whatever desires, thoughts you have from here, and you can make them come out of the pen onto the paper. And then they're already starting to manifest, and then it'll be your guide, step by step, to bring into your life what you need to. So Prabhupada wrote 7 Purposes of ISKCON. He also carried a little notebook like this, and you can see it on display in the museum in Vrindavan. And he wrote down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He had his goals written in his little book. So if you got started on it, continue it before the end of the year. Take some time to yourself to write down what your goals are. Okay? Okay. Only a third of you said yes. Yes. And just because of that, I have more random stuff. Okay. Yes. Everyone please move up by 7.2 inches. Okay. Make a note. Homework. Write down your 100-year goal. You have a 100-year goal. Don't look surprised. You're eternal. Yeah, where are you going to be in 100 years from now? Make a goal for 100 years from now. None of these, you make all different kinds of goals, 30-day goals, 5-year goals, but make a 100-year goal. Okay? Say yes. Self-investment. Train your mind how to think and what to think. Through the power of your thoughts, you are the most influential person in your life. Counteract resistance. That's spelled with a capital R, which leads to mediocrity. If you give in to the resistance that comes from your senses, from all the forces in your mind, then you end up living on a plateau. List your top 101 obstacles to your progress. And then brainstorm ways to overcome them. Write down, it's homework. 101 obstacles to your progress. A quote I love from Tom Seaver, he said, "Strive for consistency, don't worry about the numbers. If you aim for and achieve consistency, the numbers will be there." And finally, maybe good news. Persistent problem solving leads to greatness. Life is one series of opportunities to solve problems, and when you do that methodically but dispassionately, then you'll find yourself in an elite category. Perseverance is a great substitute for talent. There are 2 famous tennis players. One of them was named Lindau, and the other one was, who was that young guy? You guys weren't even born then. Who was it? The other one who beat Boris Becker. The kid. No, I said Lyndon. Agassi and Lyndall. No, it was, I'm thinking of the loudmouth from New York. McEnroe. Yeah, he was a natural talent, and he always used to complain that Lyndall practices too much. And that's why he's so good. So it's a clue. Practice a lot and persevere. It's a great substitute for talent. Time will promote or expose you. Whatever we think is hidden, it gets exposed by time. So it's better to invest in the moment and stay absorbed in doing what you know is ultimately beneficial. Time is the force that magnifies those little, almost imperceptible, seemingly insignificant things we do every day into something titanic and unstoppable. Breakthroughs are the result of a long series of little things done consistently over time. No success is immediate or instantaneous. No collapse, sudden or precipitous. Prepare, do the little constructive, positive actions over and over. So it's a good time of year to be introspective. Take some time to yourself to think, write down your priorities, your values. Give you an example of some values I wrote down that I was fascinated by. And there's so many of them. You can't focus on them all, but here are 11 that I thought were noteworthy. They caught my mind. Self-satisfied, tolerant, kind-hearted, tranquil, equipoised, simple, fearless, authentic, free from envy, fixed in service, firmly established in knowledge. Find your own list. Look through the Gita, through the Bhagavatam. Look online and pick some out, because that's what makes human life exciting, is cultivating these values. What if you just picked one of them about equanimity? What if you just practiced being equipoised every day for the next year? What would your life be like for you? Equanimity? I'm asking. You like it? Equanimity. What would you do to achieve equanimity in all circumstances? I have a mantra. Things are never as good as they seem or as bad as they seem. When anything happens, my mind does that mantra, because, that's a disaster. That's going to blow everything up. Like, things are never as good as they seem. But, this is great. It's like, yeah, wait till you hear the other guy's story. Stay balanced. Krishna recommends it in the Bhagavad Gita, and tolerate. There's always a fruit when you tolerate. You tolerate various aggravating circumstances, or Krishna says, tolerate the weather. Tolerate and stay even-minded through everything. What if you were authentic? Just be your authentic self. What a relief that would be. I told you about that friend of Satyadev's who was a paramedic, and he talked about removing the mask of the hero, as he was considered a great hero, and he said what a burden that was to wear that mask. What about being kind-hearted? You like that one? Yes. Spouses? Simple. Free from envy. Yes or no? Yes. Fixed in service. Yes. Like? Firmly established in knowledge. 7 priorities of speech. Learn to say, I forgive you. Don't say everything that comes to your mind. Remember that you can't take back what you say. Your word is your bond. It sticks to you, and you have to stick to it. Priorities. You can make a priority list. You want to hear some? Yes. Okay, that was enthusiastic enough, so I'm not going to do it. Yes. All right, okay. Remembering that my time in my present body and others in theirs can end at any moment, I therefore give my attention and appreciation to others, considering that each interaction with them could be the last. I read high-minded works by important thinkers every day. My words are truthful, pleasing, and beneficial and non-offensive, etc. there's a few more. But that gives you an idea of what you can do if you take time to introspect, write down what your values are, what your priorities are, and move them in such a way that you like them. And when you have all those together with your goals, you can have your own personal constitution. Constitution of the United States of America, about 262 years old. Somehow or other, it's held together, a motley crew of the population of America for hundreds of years, because it's documented, it's written, it's on the wall. So if you have your own, and there's certain things that you stand for, and certain values that you do not compromise on, then it gives you a backbone to move through such a complicated world. Om Tat Sat. That's all, folks. And now we'll have Harinam Kirtan. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharite Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Cowbell, cowbell. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupāda, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupāda. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki, Shri Harinam Mahamantra Ki, Shri Harinam Prabhu Ki, Gaura Premanande. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Okay, we have a couple of minutes for some reflections. I thought you had a note for me. Okay. Reflections. Sharing means caring. Salvation Army.
I was just thinking about the attitude part that you were saying in the instructions. I was also thinking about Krishna.
Can you turn the mic up because Kumbh Mela started in the other room? There's a lot of devotees out there.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. I wonder if, can we let them in? Is it possible? Here, everybody move up. Plenty of room. We fit 16,000 people in here. You get rid of this too if you want. This is room for at least 5 right here. Okay, everybody can come in. Plenty of room. It's a Vaishnava tradition. Huh? Okay, go ahead. We're sharing time.
Yeah, thank you so much, Maharaj, for the wonderful lecture. And also, I really like the random tidbits. It was
Random, you like random?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
It's kind of like scrolling, only Krishna conscious, hopefully.
I was thinking about, especially about attitude, because...
Turn the red mic up. We can't hear her. Okay.
Yeah, like this. So I was also particularly thinking about the attitude, because, attitude means everything. And I was thinking about Krishna's also advice about to Arjuna, where he says that Mars Prashastu Kanteya Shitoshun Sukha Dukkadha Agam Apinyo Anityas Tam Titiksha Sabharatas. He says that all these things that come in your life are like the seasons that come and go. And then he doesn't say that, okay, they'll come and go, but he says you learn how to tolerate them. So that's also an attitude towards life, I
love that. And what I was just noticing is, let's just say if you're looking at a value list and you wanted to practice equanimity, these verses take on a new meaning for you because you're listening to them and thinking, oh, how can I apply that? There's one thing to listen to Bhagavad Gita, it's another to apply it. And it changes everything. Because if you take one principle from the Bhagavad Gita, like equanimity or tolerance, and you actually apply it in 1 day, 1 hour, 1 minute, you learn so much about yourself and you start noticing the super self just by the practice. Thank you, Shraddha. The verses are so essential and yet simple that we can overlook them. I've heard that before. If we go back to beginner's mind and think, what if I applied this principle? And hear it for the first time, not feel entitled. I've heard so many times I don't have to listen again. Then it becomes extremely enlivening. Okay, sharing time. 1, 2, 3.
I've been appreciating how lately in many of your talks you have been emphasizing a lot on developing values. And in one of your talks you were mentioning about how in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, in the definition of knowledge, it also lists down all the values like 13.8 till 12 or 14. So this is a very nice thing to introspect upon, that Krishna consciousness is not just practice or achievements or goal, but also development of values.
It's a good point. Amanidvam, adambitvam, himsa, shantararjavam. That long list, 20, where Krishna says, this is knowledge. And it's the way to tell the difference between the material manifestation and what we are, which is consciousness. The two can be scientifically ascertained, but here are the 20 elements mentioned in it. So it means practically that we're to utilize them. And the admonition of Lord Chaitanya, Trinadapi Sunichena, Toror Api Suhishnuna, Amanina Manadena, Kirtaniya Sada Hari, we have to practice it. He said, be ready to give all respects to others. How are you going to be ready to give all respects to others? You have to think about it, cultivate knowledge of who others are, and then practice that. Okay, yes, wait.
Thank you for today's metaphor. I had a quick question. It's about how the soil and sunlight work together. You mentioned that the UV light spares no one from the sun, no matter their circumstance or intention. Everyone gets burnt if they have some interaction with the holy name. And then at the same time, you mentioned that soil is everything. One's attitude is everything. So I was wondering what the balance is there, what between everyone getting touched by the UV light, but also how attitude is everything.
Well, one thing is there's a difference in our interaction with the holy name when we come to knowledge and we come into the practice intentionally and we make vows to chant from those who are incidentally hearing it. There's a higher standard expected of those who are have given a vow to chant and are cultivating that. Because it's personal. And therefore, trying to bring it back to the metaphor, yes, although the sun is equal to everybody, but as Prabhupada points out, some take advantage of it and some don't. And the sun can, if we're not careful, it can be withering also. Although I'd like to just stick with the fact that it's equal to everybody. They take advantage of it. But once we're in knowledge, we should be careful not to misuse the knowledge. That's the other point. And I'm sure there's a good metaphor for that too. Okay, we have Vijay all the way in the back. You get a mic in 7 seconds or less, or your money back from today's class. You have to pray. Did you pray? Pray, pray.
Hare Krishna.
See?
You mentioned this word rapt attention. There's a statement, and one purport Prabhupada says, one can see Krishna on every page of the Bhagavatam if one hears with rapt attention. To hear with rapt attention, one has to be pure in mind. To be pure in mind, one has to be pure in action. To be pure in action, one has to be pure in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. And if one is able to hear in this way, one can see Krishna on every page of the Bhagavatam. It's a nice statement. Now, the question is, how is it that by pure eating, sleeping, mating, and defending that one can hear with rapt attention?
Well, let's just say that you had an accountant looking over your books for your personal finances, or let's say you're an entrepreneur and you had an accountant, and you called your accountant because he was supposed to call you, and he was 2 days late. And when you called him, he said, "Oh, sorry, I've been drunk, so I couldn't get the year ledger into you." What would you do? You get a new accountant, right? The purity and the way we live allows us this receptivity. And if we're irresponsible and we don't follow the laws of decency, then we become unreceptive to the holy name and to the practices. But it's amazing when we perform just these basic austerities, how our minds become fertile, our hearts become fertile, because we're taking it seriously. So the way I was connecting that is, why would you give your books and your accounting responsibility to a person who's intoxicated? And similarly, why would Krishna give himself through his holy name directly to somebody who's intoxicated? Okay, there was a couple more, and we only have time for a couple more. Yes, Sadhu? Yeah, okay. There's plenty of microphones. Everybody gets a microphone. You get a microphone, and you get a microphone.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the wonderful class. I really love the UV rays metaphor and just the power of the holy name, and how if one even accidentally hears or says the holy name, it still has, still benefits him. And there's this passage in the Chaitanya Charitamrita where Haridas Thakur and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were conversing, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asking, how will the Yavanas get liberated? I'm concerned for them. And Haridas Thakur says, they'll be fine. They say Harama, Harama. So they're saying the word Rama, which will also benefit them. If I may, I also have a question. you're giving the definition of rapt attention, and you said that one should be fascinated by what one is hearing or reading. So how can we develop that fascination for reading scriptures and just hearing about the Lord's glories?
Practice. When you practice hearing, you'll develop a liking for it. And you may notice that sometimes the mind says, don't hear, that'll be boring, listen to something else. But it's not true. The mind feels naturally satisfied. But beyond satisfaction, there's kind of eagerness to hear that develops if you keep practicing. So that's why it's a good idea to have regular hearing, even when you don't feel like it, until you do start really appreciating it. We've had this experiment going on for 25 years. I think we have to do it for at least 30 to come to the law of large numbers and understand the average mean. But we notice that practically everyone who comes to Govardhan to do that hearing experiment, where we hear this last year, I think we averaged 6 hours a day. And those who came there to hear didn't get bored or tired, nor did they want to stop hearing after it. And how about when we chanted the whole Bhagavad Gita together the other night? Afterwards, nobody said, can we never do this again? And that was really tedious. Everyone said, why don't we do this every day? And that's what everyone was thinking too. Weren't you thinking that? Admit it. You're thinking, why don't I just do Bhagavad Gita every day and call in sick? So you got to practice. Okay, one more and then we're out. Oh, okay, yes, please.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much for all the knowledge that you give. I really love the 101 hurdles that can come in the way of our goals. I'll really practice that. And one question I have for you is that I have been pondering about the part from the Bhagavad Gita where it says Indriyanam Manaschashmi. So because before I read that,
hold it down right under your mouth. Yeah.
So before I read Indriyanam Manaschashmi, that particular part of Gita, I always
the third chapter are you talking about?
10th chapter.
Okay.
10.22 or something.
I am the self.
Yeah. I am the mind amongst all the indriyas.
Yes.
So before that, I always felt like mind is the biggest enemy, or I wanted to detach my soul from my mind and kind of, always try to control the mind, right? Because that's where we get into all the indulgences. So, but then when I read that Indriyanam Manaschashmi, I was like, so we are probably not using our mind, because yes, mind is the most powerful thing. And then I'm very, very curious to learn, how do we really use it in the positive ways instead of always just thinking about how to control the mind?
Oh, what a good question. That's a really good question. Well, the answer is, first of all, that the mind can be the best friend or the worst enemy. And the solution is given by Krishna in the Gita, where he says, Man mana bhava mad bhakto. Just think of me. What's the best way to think of Krishna? We discussed yesterday, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mama nusmaradhyujacha is the verse where Krishna says, always think of me in all circumstances. And Prabhupada gives the key in the purport. Remember what it is? Chant Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And don't stop. Without stoppage. You got to keep it going, okay? Or at least 16 rounds a day, minimum. Everyone, thank you very much for coming out on this beautiful day here in California. We got it good out here. And we got the best part of our program coming up is the Hare Krishna dance party. So let yourselves go. Let your anartas go. You can raise your hands, sing for Krishna. He gets it. He gets you. He knows what you're going through. And just let your heart open up and sing and dance. We're going to put all the men on that side, women on this side. It's not an absolute rule. If you got a friend you want to hang with, that's fine too. Just, for convenience sake. And we're going to roll up all these carpets, put away all the asanas, and we'll meet you back on the dance floor in about 1 minute and 32 seconds. Ready? Go. Everyone go.